The absence of the High Court's eldest justice is resparking debate over judicial term limits. And One America's Jennifer Franco has more on RBG's absence and what exactly it could mean.
I have said that I will hold this office as long as I can do the job full steam.
It's been several days without any updates on the status of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's health.
Another health scare for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She underwent surgery today to remove 2 cancerous growths from her lungs.
In the past 2 months, the 85-year-old has faced a number of health issues, leading her to miss oral arguments for the first time in her 25-year tenure. But this is the 3rd time Ginsburg has battled cancer.
Could it be that someone who had colon cancer in the past and had early-stage pancreatic cancer in the past is also more likely to get type of lung cancer? Perhaps.
Ginsburg canceled 2 public events slated for late January and early February, fueling speculation about her possible departure from the bench. Ginsburg isn't the first justice to stay on the bench well into advanced age or long after their health deteriorates. However, it's not without precedent the court has chosen to take action against justices not properly fulfilling their duties. 1870 appears to mark the first forced resignation of a Supreme Court justice. Justice Robert Cooper Greer heeded calls by his colleagues to step down after a series of strokes dramatically affected his work. Decades later, Justice William O. Douglas was prevented from writing opinions after suffering a debilitating stroke that left him partially paralyzed before his retirement in 1975. His colleagues also chose not to count his vote in any decision, even if he was in the majority. Nowadays, with the fate of critical issues hanging in the balance, some have questioned whether the current standard is in the court's best interest.
No accountability whatsoever. And I also think that when a person can be appointed to the Supreme Court and stay there for 40 years, my gosh, they might have outlived 6 or 7 presidents during that course of time. And I'm just not sure that that's a healthy thing.
Even if a justice becomes physically or mentally limited, their lifetime appointment stands, making the idea of term limits appealing.
Nowadays, justices are serving for about 25 years, but that's the longest that it's been in history. And we have had justices on the court who have been quite old and at times a little doddery, to be honest. And so limiting to 18 years still makes it a decent block of time, but without stretching on indefinitely.
Ginsburg herself recently said she wouldn't retire for at least another 5 years, setting off suspicion about the timing of her plans. If President Trump is elected to a second term, it would mean he may not get the chance to nominate her replacement. Ginsburg's departure would allow the president to make his 3rd Supreme Court pick, creating a solid conservative majority. But even before Justice Brett Kavanaugh was sworn in, Democrats in Congress talked about ways to get him off the bench. And they've been renewing their calls to impeach the man who nominated him.
Last week, they're saying we'll impeach him. Impeach him for what? For what? Besides that, I have to go first, right? Don't I have to go? Even though we've done nothing wrong.
A new vacancy on the High Court would guarantee another contentious battle. And despite obstruction from Senate Democrats, President Trump has been filling lower court vacancies. The Supreme Court has a number of potential landmark cases on the docket this year. It's planning to take action on gun rights for the first time in nearly a decade and tackle gerrymandering, potentially setting a new national precedent for how election maps are drawn. However, it's unclear exactly when Justice Ginsburg will be joining her colleagues in court rather than continue to work from home. Doctors expect her to return to the bench in February, but whether that happens remains to be seen. Jennifer Franco, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.